The good life, full of fun, seems to be the idea.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another exciting day in my kitchen. Oh my God, you guys, are you ready for something that's gonna be absolutely fantastic? One of my favorites, like Italian comfort food, right? It's manicotti. So now listen, we were having a conversation with a bunch of people, like how do you pronounce them? What do you say? Manicotti, which would be more like the Italian pronunciation. Manicotti, which would be like the Sicilian version dialect. They all say the same thing. Upstate New York, we call it manicotti because we pronounce all our vowels a little differently. But in any case, this is the truest, quintessential Italian comfort food. Absolutely delicious. So I'm really excited to bring this great recipe to you guys. And I'll tell you, it is a mixture of just everything but goodness. I'm going to teach you just a couple of little things that are going to really send it and step it right up to a flavor that you've never had before. And we always like to do old Italy. My grandparents, both from Italy, and what we've learned through cooking with them, along with going to my home in Italy, is you start to really get a sense that what they did in old Italy was a little different. They would do little things that it's close, but just phenomenal, just awesome, just takes it up to that next level, which I'm excited to share with you guys right now. Okay, so enough of that. Manicotti, manicotti, whatever you want to call it, that's what we're going to make, all right? So we're going to make it with a crepe. Now this is basically, we just did a video, so you can shoot that video or watch that video we just shot, sorry. And so these are crepes that we made. Now we're not making dessert crepes, okay? What we're making is essentially a pasta. It's actually a cooked pasta, because pasta's eggs, if you will, water. In this case we use milk, but eggs, milk, and flour with a little salt and pepper, and that's what these are. So they're not a dessert crepe. So we got a beautiful set of homemade pasta crepes, which we just made. Manicotti crepes are gonna be absolutely delicious. I'm excited about that. And then we need to make that inside of the manicotti, right? We want to make it so it's so awesome, so delicious, and it really enhances and brings out the flavor. So you're always going to start with a ricotta. Now, a lot of different types of manicotti you can put inside meats and so forth. Traditional manicotti is going to be ricotta cheese with some other cheeses, okay? So that's kind of what we're doing, where we're gonna step it up. Now, one of my little tips, you can see, not that there was a ton of water in there, but if you ever make like a manicotti, if you ever make a cannoli, whatever, you're gonna see that a lot of times there's a lot of water in the cheese. So we wanna drain that out because we don't want it to get soupy and diluted, right? We want it to have a nice steady, hearty structure inside the manicotti. So that's what I did. So I've got 2 pounds of ricotta cheese, okay? Organic, healthy, beautiful ricotta cheese. All right, guys, so what I've got here, I don't even know the exact quantity of sauce, but I've got, say, 1.5 quarts of some homemade red sauce, which is absolutely delicious. In this case, I got it flavored with a little basil, so it's gonna be great. And now I've got my 4 cheeses. Manicotti is just gonna be absolutely awesome with cheese, and I like it gooey, and I like it creamy, and I like it hearty. So I've got here Parmesan cheese. Now I'm gonna say it's a 1/2 cup, it's probably a little bit more than that, so a fat 1/2 cup. Parmesan, I've got a 1/2 cup, fat cup, 1/2 cup of Romano cheese. Now I've got mozzarella cheese, and I've got one of my favorite cheeses that I love because it adds that gooey, creamy feel, kind of like a mozzarella, and that's Fontina. So I've got some Fontina cheese. So I've got 4 cheeses, right? I got 4 eggs. Now I'm gonna add 1 more cheese, because you're like, well, 4 cheeses, I've heard of a 4 cheese manicotti before. Have you heard of a 5 cheese? Right here I got my mascarpone cheese. Oh, absolutely delicious, right from Italy. And now here I've got about 1/4 cup so of freshly chopped up parsley. Now I got Italian parsley. Parsley is going to add kind of that green flavor, if you will. It's going to be a little bit of citrus and a little bit of pepper. So it's got a green feel, if you will, like a broccoli rabe, if you will, or like a kale. But then it's got that citrus, like I said, and that beautiful peppery backdrop like an arugula. So it's absolutely delicious. And then one of my secret favorite ingredients, nutmeg. Anytime you're using cream or cheeses, especially ricotta cheese and stuff, you gotta add nutmeg. Now we're gonna add some olive oil, and we're gonna add salt and pepper. Now, I don't know where I would get a great olive oil, something extra virgin, something great and fresh and just really true. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but we carry our own version of Vito and Joe's extra virgin olive oil. A few people today were asking me where did I get the name from. I have 2 boys. One of my sons is named Vito, one of them's named Joe, so it's after them. So Vito and Joe's extra virgin olive oil. We have a farm right in Italy, in Puglia region, and this is an Ogliari olive, and it's absolutely delicious. So makes a great gift. If you're looking for something, a gift for your own house, if you're looking for true, authentic extra virgin olive oil, that's what we use in our cooking. That's what we're going to use today. Certainly grab your bottle on Facebook, Amazon. You can go right to our webpage, Cooking Italian with Joe. Got to throw the olive oil plug in there. So let's get started. Let's make manicotti. So I've got the oven at 325. I've got a nice big beautiful ceramic plate or tray that we're going to use to cook it in. All right, so I'm going to slide this out of the way. Let me prep this area and I'll tune right back with you guys in a minute. All right guys, here we go. So I've got my ricotta, 2 pounds. Pop that right in there. I'm going to throw this in my sink. Now, the rest of it's easy. The only area that we want to mix really well are those eggs. So a tip, I always talk about my videos, right? You're going to take the eggs, put them in a clear dish when you crack them so you can grab any of those shells. Give them a really good mix with a fork before you put them in there. See, a lot of times, especially the yolks, you want to make sure that the egg is fully incorporated within your food. So if you do it that way, you'll really get a nice full incorporation, right? So this doesn't have any special order. You're just going to mix it all because it's your filling, right? So there's my egg, whole egg, right? And mascarpone cheese. Got about 2 tablespoons. I don't know if I said that earlier. I got 2 tablespoons. Hold on one second. Got to grab my olive mixer, okay? One of my favorite flavors in the entire world. Nutmeg. A little bit of nutmeg goes a long way. So I got about 1/4 of a teaspoon there. And I'll tell you, it's just enough to give it a backdrop, but not overpowering so that you taste the whole thing. Same thing like an allspice. It really takes up a lot, all right? We've got about a 1/4 cup, maybe a fat 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. We already talked about that. And then we got my cheeses. Now what I'm going to teach you to do right now is you want to hold back a little bit on your cheeses because we're going to use some of the cheese just to top it off. All right, so use like about that much. Just leave a little bit of each one of those cheeses back. Okay, and then we'll just make a nice good topping, and it gives you that gooey brown flavor. Oh, I just love that. A little bit of a crisp on top. I'll show you how to do that to make it come out perfect. And there you go. There's our Romano, Parmesan. We're going to use our parsley. Hold a little bit of back of that for plating it, right? And guys, how easy is that, right? Now I'm going to put salt and pepper. Can you get in there nice? I'll tell you, just the smell. Oh my gosh, just the smell of the cheeses. Now your only challenge here is your ricotta cheese, right? So you're going to kind of push it, is how I like to do it. And that's why I like that flat spatula. And as I keep pushing it, I'll stir it up a few times, right? And I break apart that cheese. Oh, look at that. Is that great? Now we're going to add some salt and pepper. So as this is kind of mixing and absorbing, I'm marrying all those flavors. Now I like a lot of pepper. I put a little bit in the crepe, not a lot. But, that pepper, fresh ground. We had a little mishap. We had part of the pepper grinder. It's so fresh, the damn pepper grinder wanted to get in there. All right, and then I'm going to add some salt. Now I'm going to add a good teaspoon of salt in there. Okay, and that's it. Don't add much more than that because your Romano cheese is going to have a good amount of salt in it as well. Not that we put a ton in there, but okay. And now the next step here is you just really want to make sure you've got a great incorporation. Now sometimes people will blend it, and I'm not opposed to that. But I don't like to add air to it. If I use a blender, if you will, it'll start to incorporate too much air. That's why I don't use a whisk. So the ricotta cheese had been out a little while, so it was a little bit warmer. Along with the eggs, I don't want to say it was warm, but it was closer to room temp. That's beautiful. So there you go, right? And this is going to be so easy and so much fun. I love making these. So if you can get a good shot of that, right? And I gotta just do my little taste in there. So hold on one second. Oh yeah, that's good. You know what's going to be great is when all those cheeses melt with each other. Oh, that is great. All right, so we're all set. Now what we want to do is we're going to make some crepes. So let me organize this just for a second. I'll tune right back with you guys. Hold on. All right, guys, so what I've got here is I've got my pan, and I'm going to put in, you know, what you call a bed of sauce, okay? So we don't want necessarily a ton of sauce on the bottom, but you want to make sure that, you know, the manicotti is in the bottom, kind of laying on a bed of sauce. I guess I would word it that way. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Now sometimes I've seen people, they put a lot of sauce in there. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I don't want, in this case, you know, I want the manicotti to stay on its own. You follow what I'm saying? So if I do too much sauce, it'll float, it becomes too soupy, and this is a crepe version, so this is the best way to do it. So I've got a nice skimmer of sauce right on the bottom, right there. It's beautiful, okay? So I'm gonna move this to the side, and now it's gonna be construction, right? So I've got my crepe, which smells absolutely delicious, right? And you see when we cooked them, you see how we got like a nice little brown on both sides? Right, which I like, because sometimes I'll see people and they'll only cook the one side, but when you brown it, it caramelizes, bring out those sugars, is absolutely delicious, okay? So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a nice hunk of cheese, okay? Right in the middle, and I like to, you know, go the whole length, if you will, right? I'll show you how easy this is, right? Okay, and you're gonna go this way. I like this side better because the other side's finished nice, okay? And then I'm gonna come over, so I wanna go right around and I wanna round it up. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Now what I wanna do is I wanna make sure that it stays closed, so I'm gonna take the sealed end, I'm gonna put it right to the bottom, okay? Isn't that beautiful? So here, let's do another one. Look how fun that is, right? So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take one of these larger spoons, which is about 1.5 of these, okay? And then I'm gonna do this, right? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna roll it in and then set it right in there. Look at that, is that absolutely beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous? I can taste it. God, it smells good. Man, that is cooking Italian with Joe. Italian style. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish these. I'm gonna have some fun. When I'm done, I'll tune back with you guys and I'll show you exactly how to finish this up. Prep it in the oven, preheated at 325. We'll cook it for about 30 minutes. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. Talk to you guys in a minute. Look at that, is that absolutely beautiful? I'm so proud. So what I did is I layered the whole bottom and then I had 3 left. I wasn't gonna do another dish, so I just put them on top, which would be fine. My grandmother would be proud of me. She would have done exactly the same thing. All right, so then what I'm gonna do, and again, my advice to you, and depending on how you like things, I mean, obviously do it the way you want, but I don't want to bathe it in sauce, but I definitely want sauce. Sauce is going to be the accent, if you will. So I'm going to certainly use all the sauce, but I want to put basically a coat of sauce all the way over. And you don't have to be too picky because the heat will really marry everything together, so you don't have to worry about anything, right? So I want to just evenly distribute the sauce, try to cover everything you can on the manicotti, okay, on those pastas, because if not, they'll get a little bit dry on those edges, if you can avoid it. Now I'm going to show you a little trick too, because we want it to cook. We want it nice and warm and hot and gooey on the inside, right, because it's our Italian comfort food. But we don't want to burn the cheese on the top, so we're going to use a little foil on the top, just for a little bit of the initial part of the baking, and then near the end we'll take it off. If it's not brown and right, you just broil the top. It'll be perfect. But hold on one second. Now what I did here, everything's set. It's beautiful. The smell is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm gonna just take those cheeses that I had left over, right? Remember I said I had the Romano and the Fontina, right? And the Parmesan and the mozzarella, right? So I've got all those cheeses left over. So I'm gonna mix those up, right? And see that? So I left just a little bit of everything back, right? And then what I want to do is, again, you don't want to coat it necessarily, but you definitely want to put some cheese on that top. And that is just, is your mouth watering right now? Are you just thinking like, oh my God, I can't wait to taste that? Because that's what I'm thinking. You know, I love making these recipes because some of it's exactly what my grandmother would do, some of it maybe not, or my grandfather or my dad. But it just brings you back to that feel, you know, that smell, that flavor. So I'm going to use just a little bit of the parsley on top, and I'm going to save a little bit for the plating, okay? That is just absolutely great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of foil and I'm going to put it over the top. Now I don't need to put the foil over it tightly, but I'm going to put it over it essentially loose because I want some of the moisture to escape, okay? But it'll keep enough moisture in there so it doesn't burn or overcook the cheese. I want everything in there to get really hot, and it's going to marry and cook and then get gooey and warm, and it changes the chemistry. Everything's going to get nice and solid. That egg's going to heat up and cook, and it's going to change the flavor and the consistency of everything. And then, like I said, about 10 minutes in, 10 minutes left, say 20 minutes in the cooking process, I'm going to pull the foil off and I'll let that top brown. If it doesn't brown enough, you can just hit it on broil for a second. 2 or 3 minutes, everything will be brown and crispy. Pull it out, let it cool, plate it. Oh my gosh, it is absolutely delicious. I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes. All right, we're gonna throw this right in the oven. Are you ready for some manicotti? Let's check this out. I gotta tell you, this thing is absolutely beautiful. We're making a dessert in here today as well. Whoa, that thing's hot. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I mean, if that isn't one of the most delicious manicotti you would ever see. Oh my gosh, absolutely awesome. I'll tell you, the smell in this kitchen, if it doesn't smell like home, mom's or grandma's kitchen, holy mackerel. So I'm gonna let that cool. We're gonna take a couple of pictures. We're gonna tune right back. We're gonna get my favorite part. We're gonna taste it. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. All right, guys, one of my favorite parts. We just took some pictures. That is good. You got that beautiful layout of crepe. Isn't that beautiful? And it just comes out just like pasta, because essentially it's a pasta. You can smell the cheese. I'm gonna have a little bite of that little cheese right there before I bite in the whole thing. And you see it's gonna stand right on its own. It's got sauce all the way through it. It's absolutely delicious. And you've got that beautiful mixture of all those cheeses. Now that they've cooked, they're all married together. Oh boy, that smells good. Exactly. And the crepe, if you will, that pasta is so light on the backside. You have one more flavor, one more taste of that. You know, you got the cheeses. Oh my gosh, perfect amount of seasoning. And the pasta tastes great. The cheeses, the fontina always gives it that creamy. Gosh, that's good. Boy, I'll tell you, if that isn't a trip to Italy right there. Wow, that's delicious. That is manicotti, no doubt about it. Hopefully you guys enjoy the recipe. I'll tell you, it's fun, it's easy. The crepes can take a little bit of time in the beginning, so you can do that earlier in the day or the day before, throw them in the refrigerator. And then the next day, it's just a spin-off, so you don't have to use those store-bought shells. It just gives an absolutely beautiful flavor, and it brings you to that nostalgia of Italy, which is absolutely fantastic and certainly something I enjoy. And it brings great memories back to me when I used to spend time with my grandmother in the kitchen. Guys, enjoy the recipe. Certainly enjoy some time in the kitchen with your family. Until next week, guys, bon appetito. Talk to you guys next week.
Good life, full of fun.